You're big on this. We talked briefly yesterday. You mentioned in the meeting before too, and I'm big on this too. And the cool part is I'm thinking everybody who's really big and vested into the future of it probably has a different perspective because it's a guessing game, right? It's like projecting
Very much so, yeah.
right to the market or whatever, but we all have a different view of what that might look like. Yeah, so I kind of want to see what your thoughts are too and share my thoughts. I mean, like we talked briefly yesterday, I really think certain people are not going to be needed sooner than later
Yeah, I agree.
in a lot of industries, including our industry, but especially our industry, where a lot of, like I said, the low end people just aren't needed, or the low level person, like the loan officer assistant or the call center rep or the call taker or the underwriters eventually as well, I think too, as long as everybody else gets on board, because literally it's algorithms and math and risk assessments that are doing all of this. No different than Lemonade Insurance or any of these other ones that do insurance ones. That's all we're doing really quick. It really is making a risk assessment on people and then communicating with them.
But we're not making a risk assessment on people. We're making a risk assessment on data. And that's one of the big things that we forget that we because we talk about you've got to have that human interaction, which I agree for a lot of it you do have to, especially with any of the first time home buyers, any of the non-tech savvy people, things like that. You do have to have that interaction. But the reality, like you and I were talking about, by this time in my life and how many homes I've bought and sold and in this business, I don't need anybody else. All I need is a system that I can upload the same information that I've always uploaded and get something that's going to be definitive in its decision and say yes or no, and then ask for something that is supplementary, whatever that is. But I think, like I told you, I've been told ever since the advent of Lending Tree that, I'll be out of a job in 2 years. I'll be out of a job in 3 years, things like that. Even back, in that first version of Calyx 2.0, things like that. And it's always been kind of comical to me, but I truly believe it now. I really think be and it's one of those things, it's what we've done to ourselves, and I don't ever want to compare a mortgage professional to a, fast food, counter clerk, but, you look and you see the issues and the problems that they had in that industry, and the greater majority of those retail places are franchises, and the margins are so tight and so little on those that the person that owns them or the conglomerate that owns them has to keep everything as tight as they possibly can. Now, all of a sudden, you start having people complaining, and out where you're at, I think what minimum wage is now like $20 an hour to work the counter at a fast food place, which is ridiculous because nobody we seem to forget where the money comes from to pay people. I'm not going to pay $30 for a freaking McDonald's hamburger so somebody can make $20. It's just not going to happen. So what did they do? They put freaking video valets in the greater majority. I'm assuming you're seeing him out there because we've been seeing him here forever. Now, the next problem that we have, you look at our business and you look at our business definitively. You look at ours, and especially let's look at real estate. When the stats come out and it says that 92% of the people who used an agent would never use them again because their communication skills were so poor. Well, our industry is not any better in the mortgage business. We're not immune to that. So you end up with the same exact thing that for me, all I've got to do is go online, fill out some information. They've got a really great portal. I can upload stuff to it. It'll pull in what I need. It will tell me on the spot if this is my bank statement or if this is my IRA statement, all of those things. It tells you immediately if you've uploaded in the right place. So the reality is I just don't need all the hassle and, worrying about people getting sick and going on vacation and then, never showing up at the closing table when you truly need them, things like that. I am looking forward to it. Obviously, I think there'll still be a need. There will still be products for a period of time that you need somebody there helping and walking through and explaining and all of those things, especially when in new products or something that, first time home buyers or anything like that is there. You need somebody explaining what a DSCR is. But for a period of time, and then it gets industry known and industry specific, um, the need for that goes down. And if we're talking about any Freddie, Fannie, Jenny, any non-QM product that's been around for, I don't know, a decade now, there isn't a need. The systems, the computers, and you just said it a second ago with the underwriters. I don't need 50 underwriters doing this. I can have a million robots at no cost doing it, and have two tech guys and one underwriting manager or two credit risk managers or whatever that may be, pushing the button saying, yes, accept, approve, override, whatever that may be. And I can make this business so much more efficient. And the people who say that that's not possible are the same ones that are using Amazon coming to their house 15 times a day when we say, there's no way that you could ever have a dozen eggs delivered to your house. It would be cost prohibitive. It would cost $50. And son of a bitch, Amazon just showed up at my house and dropped off a dozen eggs for $2.32. It's not possible. Well, it's being done. And there's really smart people out there putting these systems together. So I am 100% in the belief, like we were talking about, that now for the first time, I'm glad that I'm 57, because when it comes, hopefully I'll be able to be done with this. But I think it's coming.
No, I think 100% coming. And yeah, it's funny. Like, like for example, I haven't been to a grocery store in I don't know how long because we just get Instacart. The only time I go to the grocery store is Costco, and my wife half the time does that at Instacart too. So I literally have to walk to my gate to get my food usually. But yeah, it's all changing, and everybody's, I think it's like that. For the example, with that, some people don't do that or trust that, right? I don't want my groceries delivered, but they're going to do it anyways because everybody always adapts, or they end up in the woods, right? But I look at that and I think like people holding hand, like on a DSCR or something like that, those types of loans or type of products or whatever. I always chalk it up like if it was just a regular traditional FHA conventional, I don't think you would need anybody. I don't think you would need anybody if they didn't need explanation or the human touch on that for now. So I kind of think of it like it's like I've used this analogy for years and even more now, which is like it's Expedia, it's E-Trade. I go and do my own trade accounts or book my own vacations. And then if I got a special vacation or a higher end vacation or something, then I get the white glove concierge treatment, of course. But it's still just a matter of stuff going on in the background. And that's without AI happening. So I really believe that we'll come to a point where you'll see 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, then 60% of transactions being able to be done without human interaction. Like there's no reason for it.
What it's going to take is, in my opinion, it's going to take two things: either somebody with an extreme amount of net worth and cash, convincing somebody who buys the only, we talk about this all the time. The only good loan is a loan that you can sell. So it could be a performing loan. They make their notes every single day, but they file bankruptcy every 4 years while they're paying those notes. So that's not a good loan. It's high risk. So we're going to have to find somebody in a system. And I don't know, again, if that's Freddie, Fannie, Jenny. I don't know if that is, the Teachers Credit Union of California, whatever that may be. But once we get somebody who is used to buying those being delivered, and they understand the risk that for every 5,000 loans, one of them is going to have blemishes on it. There's going to be something that didn't flow through, and they get that fixed. It just goes from there. And if you look at it, you're not quite as old as I am, but in the beginning, I remember when I had to call Continental Airlines, and they would sell me tickets over the phone and then mail them to my house. And they even the companies trained those people to start making you feel guilty about calling them. You know that you can do this online. you know that we have a website, and they train them without them knowing it out of a job. And I think we'll do the same thing once.
I think we're doing that now.
What? Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Once it has performed and once the flow is, what do you guess, 85, 86% there from cradle to grave, on origination to sell to performing to maintaining and servicing. It'll be the standard very quickly. And I'm pretty sure somewhere it's being done now. And with the systems, I mean, my God, you look and see, I can go buy whatever it is. I looked at it the other day, a 92 tops NVIDIA hard drive, and it was like $249. So I can change my gaming computer into an AI system for $250, so it's not going to be difficult. Then you take somebody like you that understands this and understands the flow and understands that it is a commodity. And then you say, Jared, here's 50 grand, build me some robots because I want to replace my call center. I want to replace whatever it is. And as long as I've got good marketing with things coming in and I understand how to direct that traffic, one of the biggest problems that people have, I got to understand how to direct that traffic. I have to make it gamified where it's very simple, very easy, very colorful. Once that's done, it's over.
Yeah. Well, so what are the mountains to overcome for this is one of the things you said is like the funding for it. I think that's gonna be a big one, like the regulation, like the government, unless we get like Musk mortgage going on or something where somebody with big money takes that risk and looks at it differently, or the government's going to have some kind of hands in it or feel like they have the hands in it. That'll probably be the biggest holdup, I think. But as far as everything else being done, I mean, AI is used for so many different things. Like every time I think of something, I take a step back and think, could AI have done that? And not even our business, just everything. It's like whether I'm building a duck pond out back or trying to figure that out, or what most people are doing, which is using like a glorified Google, which is the dumbest thing to use it for. It's a waste of resources.
Yeah.
But content creation, I don't know if you played with the new Sora 2 thing out there right now, or in video or any of those ones. They're just amazing. They're like taking it by storm. And literally that came out a week ago. And like it's half my news feed now as everybody's got something up there for it. That's just on creative side. That has nothing to do with that logic and the analytics and the service and the um, algorithms or formulas of the data assessment that can be done. So it's like everything you think of, you should question where does it need to be replaced. Like I mean, thinking like we were talking a couple weeks ago. Oh, we need to make an app for our system, and then I'm like, well, the app is. I think you don't even need an app. Why would you need an app? I just need a prompt to talk to somebody, just like ChatGPT is right now or Grok. So instead of saying like, let me open my app and what's my balance and what's this, how about a prompt that I just ask and it knows everything, and I don't need all these apps.
I love that's one thing, but that's one thing that you and I have to use for our benefit is to realize most of the people who are using the AI systems that they know of, the Easies, the Groks, the Geminis, the Chats, they're using it as a search engine.
Yeah.
So, and I spent, but that's okay because that's the natural reality of it. So, what does that mean? That means Jared Rogers has to go in and train those systems. So, when somebody says, who's the best loan officer in SoCal? That system knows to say Jared Rogers of AFN Mortgage, and here's his information because Jared's gone in every day and trained the AI systems. It's in his blogs, it's in his vlogs, it's in his messaging because that's how the greater majority is going to use it. And they're doing it already. Gemini is not human beings anymore. Google's not human beings anymore. It's Gemini. Anything to do with Bing is off of ChatGPT. So that's how people are using it. And the people like you have to understand that now. I spent an hour yesterday when you called me, I spent an hour yesterday trying to break somebody free from using it as a higher end search engine and teaching them about prompts. One of the biggest things with prompts, and I'm assuming you're doing this already, is people need to start labeling, indexing, and storing their prompts. That's going to be one of the biggest things going forward, and the value is in those prompts. I helped some agents the other day, this is something, I don't know what all. Matter of fact, if you want to leave this in, you can. If not, go in and cut this out when you publish this. But you can go in right now and you can go. Chat is the one that I like. It's my favorite. And you can go in and say, give me every neighborhood in these 4 zip codes that are selling at or above list price, that have the quickest turn times on the market, that are still flooding the market and looking to sell properties. And it will tell you and it will show you exactly. So then you get with your title person, and your title person can give you the data on every property in there. So now you know what neighborhoods, if you're a brand new agent, to start getting listings in. There's little things like that. But those prompts are what's so valuable, and they need to be indexed and they need to be saved into an e-file cabinet to be used over and over again, instead of coming up with, again, this is where humans make these horrible mistakes. We think that we know what everybody else is asking the search engines. So we don't pay attention to the latest and greatest search terms, search words, key phrases, key terms that people are using. Especially, you look at our industry, especially on the retail side. You look at the agents and they're still speaking in language that is so archaic. They say things like 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2-car garage. When you and your wife are driving down the street and we say, we need a bigger fucking house. We need a newer kitchen. We need a
Loan officers and mortgage people talk too. So
Exactly, exactly.
it's funny actually because one of the tests that we're about to start doing is when clients call in and they get to talk to AI, and we are going to offer them, would you like to talk to AI who can answer almost any question you want, or would you like to talk to a person who might be able to answer follow and see like I mean, people will probably want to talk to a person, even though the information isn't as good, because people are only as good as the information they know or they think they know, and they love to share it, whether it's good or bad. Just like my wife with all her Instagram conspiracy theories, loves to share it, even though it has no clue on it. But so, I mean, yeah, you're going to have an opportunity to talk to a person or have every question you possibly want answered at your fingertips. The question is, what are people going to do, and how long is, rather not what they're going to do, how long is it going to take for people to convert over to that in majority of percentages? So
I think it's how we introduce it. So the biggest thing is people that are in our industry are lazy generally. And then we let the IT guys and the coder guys do it. And they're the ones who are now putting in the prompts for the capture side on AI, when it should be us. And think about it this way. You can either have a pop-up that says, "Do you want to talk to AI, yes or no?" Well, the answer is no. I don't want to talk to AI because I've seen that crap. I've seen those horrible videos that people are doing. I've been caught in that. Press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. I've been caught in that. I've been caught in that representative, for all these years. So think about this. Just change it up a little bit. Would you like to be in our beta test and try our new AI system? At any time, you can press 1 and opt out, and you will talk to a human being within 30 seconds. Press 1 to go into AI, press 2 to stay where you're at. If I get to be in a beta test, that's something important. That's something kind of cool. That's walking on the moon shit. If I know that I can escape out of it and I have a definitive time frame, in 30 seconds I can talk to a human being or less, then yeah, I'll try that, as opposed to talking to that idiot that I just spoke with, just trying to, make an appointment to take my car in to get an oil change. Think about that. We are used to it. Now, there's some really poor systems out there that are kind of turning us off, but it's how the message is delivered to you on whether you do it or not, and then whether you adopt it or not. Now, think about it this way. Once you do that the first time and you make that experience amazing for somebody, the first thing they're going to do is go tell people, dude, you should have seen this system I used today. It was the easiest thing in the world. I did not have to talk to another human being. I did not, all of these things. And think about it, from the perspective in our industry. When you look at realtors and loan officers and underwriters and processors, we as a consumer think they're judging us every minute of the day because that's, kind of what they're doing. So I don't have to worry about if I don't think my credit's good enough, or if I don't think that I make enough money, or if I don't think I have enough in my savings, any of those things, because it's just a system that's telling me yes or no. And that's all I want to know is yes or no. And that's the whole reason. I don't know if I ever told you, and I'll make it very short, but the whole reason I got in this business is in 1994 when I bought my first house and financed my first house. Talked to some guy named A loan officer, never heard from him again, never showed up at closing, never would return phone calls, anything along those lines. He turned me over to some girl named A processor. She would call me every single day. And I finally told her, I said, she would call me and say, I need your bank statement. She'd call me the next day and say, I need your tax return. She'd call me the next day and say, I need your verification of employment. And I finally said, there's got to be a piece of paper or something somewhere that has all these things that I can do it at one time instead of scrambling every day. And she said, Mr. Fowler, if you think you can do it better, why don't you do it yourself? And that's why I got in and looked. And that's what's going to happen is the people who treat this as a job instead of a career, they'll be the first ones.
I tell it to every day to my team, like, set yourself apart, otherwise you're going to get replaced. And you are literally, if you aren't doing your job and you aren't valuable at some point, all you're doing is helping everybody else replace you. Just like you mentioned earlier, people help themselves.
Here's who showed up today. You have no value.
Right, because my AI shows up 24/7. So, that's not a value proposition, and you probably need to make a change. And the coders are doing that right now. They're trying to think they're real. I mean, because they know they're getting replaced soon as well. Like, I think like 3 to 6 months, it's like, nah, you're not needed anymore. I think that's going to come really quick. It's already there, but yeah. So I do. Yeah.
Just trying to make any of my systems talk to each other. And I love it when you're talking about software systems and you call up, ABC, and you say something to the effect of, hey, can you make my CRM talk to my call capture system or my QR system? And they all say the same exact thing. It's just the laziest excuse. Have you tried Zapier? And I actually own Zapier. All right, just hook that up. It's not a problem. Can you show me how? Because I'm having a hard time with it. Well, they always come up with this thing. I can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I use HubSpot, I use an iPhone, I use social media, including Facebook, Instagram, including TikTok, blah, 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 blah. I use YouTube to store, I use eCabinet, I use this. Can you help me make my systems work better? And boom, within minutes, it puts together a freaking diagram, tells you where to go, how to do it, how to hook all of them up, and what the prompts are to give them, and it's done.
Yeah. I guess so. Now I saw the update. You could incorporate, what's that? There's so many sites out there. I can't remember the name of it. Just like the Zillow, though, how you can pull that in chat. There's another one for your workflows, your business plans, your organization charts, whatever it is that you want. It's all there. And again, it's so funny because what we're talking about right now, if we went and said, let's have this talk again in 3 months or 6 months, we're going to say something totally different. None of this this was like in a history book at that point.
But it'll still be relative, but it will be advanced.
Well, because like the concept or the foundations of everything we talk about stays the same, right? The foundation of sales, the foundation of business, the foundation of everything's been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. Strategies and techniques and stuff like that change along the way, I think. So, and that's what's going to happen with AI. I mean, if I look back in the 2-year history of it, is it about 2 years now?
Little over, yeah.
A little over 2. So from when it was, and then how the hallucinations and how it responded certain ways, and oh shoot, that was a mess up, because that's what business is and life is messing up and fixing it and then doing something else. And that's what they're doing. Us talking about us using it are their beta testers to find out, like, oh, hey, Johnny got through and found out something he shouldn't have. Let's change that. and other people are beta testers, and so the story goes down the, down the pyramid, right? But yeah, so I mean, I love it. I get so excited because everything I think of like is a step back, and I sometimes you got to put yourself in check too. You end up, and when I find out I'm doing something that could have been easier with it, I'm like, dang it, I shouldn't have. Why didn't I go do that? I should have done that. And I use it a lot. So, but I'll share my screen with you really quick. I know you don't got a ton of time, and as well, let me share this really quick. I always share the whole window because I'll never get
Yeah, it's my,
there's a whole screen.
it keeps me from putting my readers on too.
Good. All right. Cool. Did it work? And the whole screen. That's my chat. By the way, I use that. I don't know how you use it. Everybody uses it differently. I use it like my CMO, my recruiter, my onboarder. These are all my employees pretty much.
Yep.
I take my whole data dump and I put it in here. I say, holy crap, we're spending way too much on our cost per funding and our ratios, right? This is my marketing side. So, and I run deep research, by the way, and let it do everything for me and just keep these things going. And then I just pass this off to somebody else who really wants to read it because I have to trust AI. But let me get out of there. So yeah, so one of the things like there's all these what ifs. It's like right now you got like anything right in business. It'll probably be a 180 by the time it gets done, right? Of what it is. But for us, we're focusing on that experience portion of it of getting rid of people. So we want to be able to have the voice AI or the bots or whatever it is or text. It doesn't really matter. It's like one of many methods that funnel in. And then instead of looking like a funnel of your business, I look more like not the funnel. What is it? The time, the salt in the thing. What do you call those things? Hourglass. Yeah, the hourglass model. Like I think everything should be an hourglass model because for me, everything comes in like a funnel and it's got to go out different ways instead of everything coming into one point. So for us, whether they're calling in, texting in, Facebook, flyer, billboard, commercial, whatever, it's all coming in and then it gets funneled down and then it gets dispersed out because there is logic as well of what people need to qualify. So for example, here's our system, our CRM. Let's see. I've just grabbed a couple random ones to see how they're working. And we're still testing a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
But let me see. This is a good one. This is a call that comes in. It gets an automatic response out for somebody and a text that goes out, right? So these are like bots and AI doing their thing. And they give us an offer code. Thanks for providing that. It's getting asked for their email. We get that and it starts filling it in all the fields over here for us automatically, right? Ask what time zone they're in so it can update their time zone. So this is all without Mrs. Melissa right here. Hasn't touched this file yet at all, right? This one even goes into booking an appointment for Melissa. Awesome. Sets an appointment for her. So she has to do nothing at this point. And eventually she still won't have to do anything once we get past the second level. So what we're going down is doing is we're grabbing all the information. We're pulling in unique identifiers, right? Of getting the address and stuff that we have here. Then we go into these questions of what we have. And the logic that we're building right now is so it knows if this would be a deal. So if this is 525 is my balance and 68 is my value, and I'm looking for a rate and term, and I got a good credit score, and I have a job, and I have an income amount in there, then I'm going to continue moving forward and try to take it all the way to an application. If I say I got 525, I want $100,000 and my value is 600,000, I'm over 80%. The logic, the system knows about it and says, sorry that, it doesn't look like you have the equity, and then maybe tries to figure it out. Would you like to do less cash or would a rate and term still help you or whatever the case is? And if not, we go straight into workflows of why they want to qualify, right? Like, so for example, in our thing, we have a ton of different workflows. If they say income or equity or credit, same crap we've done for 20 years in CRMs, right? But now that workflow can help them do stuff, help them improve their credit, stay in touch with them. And it's out of sight, out of mind. So we don't ever see it if that's the case. It also would let us know, like I have a model for somebody who qualifies, set an appointment as soon as possible, 20 to 60 minutes out. Somebody who doesn't qualify, say we'll take a second chance, but set that 2 hours out, right? Or more, whatever's next available. So basically, this is going to go through and grab this information and just do the pre-qualification based off how they respond, and the AI will capture all this information. And then it's a hybrid model because for now we are going to get it into a higher skilled person who hopefully would already have a complete file, right?
Yeah.
We take this and have them fill out all this information, pre-qualify it, then have it walk them through the application. I've been playing with stuff through the U.S. Postal Service, through ways of collecting data. We use a title search company. Chat knows other sites I've never even heard of. I can ask Chat, say, pull me all the public record data just like a title company would of this property. Here's the address. It shoots everything over to me without me having to log into a title company and find it.
And the cool thing is whatever includes you, you can change the format, tell it to change the format so they can be mapped into whatever kind of you want.
Yeah, you can map anything anywhere. That is, and the logic behind that, because I mean, I use Chat, we use OpenAI developers portals for all of our APIs and all the kind of junk that we're doing as well. So the idea, like right now, we have it running. This is like the model we're running right now, right? Get them to the application, then kind of pass it off. We need to get to the get them going through the full application, collecting the documents, and then I even take a step forward. Like the real vision is, and this will take some more work, but it might not take that much work. Is the AIs can find everything about you. Like as soon as it asks me about my address, all my public record information comes in. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Fills up half the app that of all those questions. When was it built? How much are your taxes? Everything. But it asks me my job. It can pull all my information or ask me for my logins and pull all my payroll, pay stubs. When it asks, it pulls a title search in. It runs AUS automatically. So literally by the time I hang up that call or I get off with my I pretty much have an approval. I already know what I can get. It wouldn't be hard to do and then tie it into a pricing engine. Don't use the one we use a better one because there's a lot cheaper ones out there that are better. But tie it into that. And literally by the time before you're off the phone, you know what you can do. And all I would have to do as a Melissa would say, how's that sound? But when would you like this offer? You could even go another step further, which is on our roadmap too, of having the algorithms based off their age, where they live at, and all the data that you have collected to find out, is it really beneficial? Like, are you going to live in this home for 5 years or 2 years or 10 years or whatever it is? What is your income level? Going back to like, we do the risk assessment off of data, but what about the advantage assessment based off of their data and all these data points? So the AI would actually be better than a loan officer who says, I think you should do an FHA loan because of this. The AI will say, no, that's probably not a good idea because, you're young, you got good credit, whatever the reason is, all these things. So my vision is that, Melissa, you're just going to call and hold their hand to make sure that they didn't have any questions at the end of the day.
It's also one of those fields to where you can have your AI therapy programmed as time goes by. Anything you one of the biggest mistakes that loan officers don't do in our business, was way back in the movies, is how long are you live there. So we don't do that anymore. We can say you get an F, you get a BA, you get a USPA loan, you get a commit, and we do that any. Then you can train AI and you can use this that are out the mortgage with and tie the two together. So if you study there year, it will do this. At 6 years, you save this much money. And then I can decide, is it worth me saving $3,500 to do this? Is it worth it to buy down a rate? What is that? As opposed to bragging. Now, take this a little bit farther. Everything that you've just done, you put together what or could be considered the perfect package loan. Now, use AI, go even deeper and have AI analyze every loan inside of that bunch and then put together a synopsis scenario on what it is and how it will perform and sell that to Wall Street. So right now we buy credit score, we buy TV, we buy interest rate, but we don't pay attention to, uh, 33% of this portfolio works for Amazon, which is on the trajectory to be, this or whatever that may be. Now you've got something of real value, and it can be cut in real sense.
Yeah, and this is why I love this, by the way, because every time we think of something, you can take it another step. Oh, yeah, another step and another step, and yeah, then it's just endless. And then the question is, am I gonna keep talking about it, or are we gonna do this shit? So how do I get it done? You gotta get it done. Yeah, I love that. That's another whole nother, and there's so much data out there. There's so much data, and we don't have to collect it like we did a couple years ago. AI collects it. So
It's actually, it doesn't have an attitude. It doesn't have it didn't forget, it didn't call in sick, all of those issues and problems. One of the big things that I absolutely adore about these AIs, I don't know if you've ever done this before. So when we get done with this, you can take this recording, upload it into your Chat GPT and say, what did I fit? You could say, what did all of this, and it will analysis of what, who, and where. It watches, the whole idea of it is it watches the video. It sees where they can roll their eyes. It sees where they did their crown and got their 11s. It sees when they pointed their eyes and didn't understand. It sees when they looked to the left and were telling, try to figure something out, or they looked to the right and come up with a lie. It does all of these things for you.
yeah, we've used that a few times, and I haven't used it lately, so I gotta come back to that as well because people suck at that part, so to know why
Hey,
they
but
didn't
here's
do
the
it.
thing. You, with you can program it in to where AI is watching that video in a trailing 5 seconds or something along those lines and helping the person.
It could be the live coach pretty much as it's going. Ah, it's so fun. Like I said, we could do this forever, man. Maybe in the future we'll have to have a 24-hour binger and just be doing it. I'll get the whole dev team all together and we'll just be like, as we're talking, build it.
And then also when we do this, that's phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, you know, um, obviously the two things have to be going on at the same time. How are we gonna sell this damn thing? And how are we going to bring it in? Where I say sell, I'm not selling the back end, because that truly is what matters. Uh, so we've got to do the growth of the same. Then you can do the improvement. And in my opinion, you're going to see the greatest data grab ever. The other thing that's going to happen, and you got to think about this, is this is going to far surpass the intellect of the people who regulate you. So you have to figure that out as you go also.
Well, there's a whole other angle to that I think we'll probably talk about later too. But the whole blockchain and what that's going to do maybe in this business.
I really thought blockchain for mortgage for real estate would be here by now. Um, I'm disappointed that it's not, but I really thought.
Regulation and time waste can be a bit that would be a huge improvement on all that part. So, and the transaction of funds internationally,
Yeah.
everything else. So,
Well, think about this too. This is one thing. Have you ever worked in the secondary department?
no.
Okay. So you know how when and this is something that I've always found. You see those, like, what was the name of that movie, Office Space, where they figured out the rounding error on the pennies and how much it is. So when you look at a rate sheet, it says it's paying 101.4973. When you give the rate, you're giving the rate in a Ginny 1 or Ginny 2. It's 4 and an eighth, it's 4 and 5/8, whatever. And when you sell that, you either sell it direct to what you locked it with the investor, or you sell it on the hedge, and you allegedly get a 30 basis point, 40 basis point pickup, because nobody is sitting there figuring out what that rounding error is. Now you've got a system that figures out what that rounding error is.
So they only go to the thousandths. or whatever, as opposed to the gazillions and all those percentages, small percentages. That's just like the office space. They're going to add up in $1 trillion industry.
Yep.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that, but it's true.
Yeah, there's so much that you can do with this that's going to be able to be done and correct so many issues and problems. And this is just my opinion. You may think the same way. Um, so we are a country of consumers. For our parents and our grandparents, they were a country of builders. They were they were proud. They took pride in ownership. Dad washed the car every Sunday. Dad mowed the yard. Mom cleaned the house. All of those things. And now we just consume everything. If we can make it as easy to buy a property as we have made it as easy, think about it. Think about this for a second. Where I live, the average sale price is, I'm gonna guess 340. The median is probably 365, something along those lines. And think about all of the crap that I have to go through to buy a freaking property. Even if I have the greatest loan officer, greatest processor, greatest underwriter, greatest title company, greatest appraiser, greatest inspector, greatest insurance agent, even if I have if all of those facts align at the same time and I have think of all of the crap I've got to go through. Now, go down to your local Mercedes dealership and sit there for a second and watch the guy walk in and buy a G63 or an S680 and pay $250,000 for a freaking car and finance it for 7 years, and he's in and out of there in 2 hours. Yep. And we gamified it. We put it all on a freaking 36-inch monitor that spins around on the desktop, and I can sign my name this freaking big and all of those things and check the boxes. When those 2 start aligning, you watch how fast and how easy we start putting the industry back together.
Yep. That I saw a projection about a month ago that said 12 years from now you'll be able to have a loan in 3 days, 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, I'd be like, there's companies out there. In theory, if I went to you and I was a wage earner with everything sitting, that's how I am as a borrower anyway. My wife has every form that you need, everything within less than 15 minutes, you have it for everything that you need. So the only reason it takes, we brag about 10-day closings. That's because the government says that you can't close until 10 days. So if you could get that out of there with these systems, how awesome would it be? This is for me. How awesome would it be for a consumer to pull up to an open house and close on it in 3 days? Be able to sit there in that open house, fill the information out, put my chip, put my PIN code, whatever it may be in, and, think about it, how much information is sitting on that little chip right there, and I could buy that house in 3 days. Yeah, I could buy a new construction, new build in 3 days, 2 days, whatever it may be. We can even get to the point, which I'm hoping, is that I can buy it in 2 hours.
Yeah. I was saying, I mean, you need the blockchain. You don't even need it for that though. But yeah, that's all. I think it'll be there. I don't know what the timeline is on it. I think it will get there eventually. There's a lot of fight, there's a lot of battle, there's a lot of politic control and everything else that goes into it. I saw your post this morning, by the way. I need it. I want it. I don't know what for. Or pretty much. That's government and every corporation, right? But yeah.
And what you see with it is those horrible videos. That's what we see with it. Don't know what it is. The very first thing I would do is have it figure out my process flows, where the hangups are, train for the hangups, and make the process flows faster than anything else. Find out, is it one specific loan officer? Is it one specific processor, one specific under? Is it a system? Is it a software system? Is it that you're using the slowest system that there has ever been in existence in an age when think about this for a second. If you're using an LOS that's the slowest LOS that there's ever been in the world, which we are, I'm just saying, and still bragging about the fact that I get, here, I can do it right now. While we're on here, I will do a speed test on my brand new AT&T fiber in my office, and I've got, I don't know, 2 dozen devices that are on my system right now. So we are going to tie, it's coming in right now. My download speed is 910.76 megabytes. My upload is coming in right now. It's going to be in the 920s. 918.81 megabytes is what my upload is. And then I go use that LOS that takes 9 minutes to lock alone, one of those things. So the tech is out there already. It's just, what are you doing with what it is that you have, and are you truly making your systems better and your people better?
I agree. I agree. All right, my man. I got to get off. Tony's waiting for me. I got to talk to Tony.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's do it again. I can ramble. I can do this talk forever. If honestly, no lies. This is fun stuff. All right, we'll do. Go get home. Go relax.